Welcome to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion, theater, and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest topics in the sewing community. I'm Kate Zaynard.
I'm Amanda Carestio.
And I'm Meg Healy. Today on the podcast, we're talking about one of my favorite things, refashioning garments, whether me-made or ready-to-wear, to give them a new life and flair. We'll share each a little something in our SewJo segment, and then we'll ask you to share something too. But before we get started, how was all our weekends? Our long weekends, I guess, right?
Yeah, for us, they were long weekends.
Yeah.
I took an extra day, so I took a 4-day weekend, and I spent the whole thing working on the Con Crunch thing. So I know you guys know this, but for our listeners out there, we have our series called Con Crunch, which is about making cosplays in short amounts of time. And we had somebody drop out kind of at the last minute. So our producer asked me and my husband, Mark, to take over and do a cosplay for them. So in a couple of days, so the day before this episode drops, in fact, we are going to be going down to the office and filming a Con Crunch challenge.
Ooh, so excited.
It's going to be so fun.
I hope it is. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also starting to get a little nervous, especially because when I film stuff, it's usually so scripted. And now this is going to be very unscripted. And so I'm very nervous about the whole thing. But
and then there's the whole sewing with your husband dynamic.
Yeah.
How is that going to work, you think? What's your prediction?
Well, so the bonus to this is there's actually going to be very little sewing that we're going to be doing. That's what I was doing all weekend is I was doing the sewing stuff. And so what we're actually going to be doing is making the armor for the costume. For those of you who are familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, we're going to be doing Suki in her Kyoshi warrior outfit. So we're going to mostly be doing foam armor stuff in this thing. Ooh. So Mark's actually the expert on that. I'm kind of going to follow his lead. So there'll be a little bit of sewing that I set aside to do for a headpiece, but I don't think he's probably going to touch the sewing machine at all. And I think that's okay because sewing can get him a little worked up. And while it's very mellow for me, but I think he feels pretty good about the armor stuff and the foam crafting. So I think it's going to go okay. I'm not sure I'd want to do one that was all sewing. I think that would make me slightly nutty.
Oh yeah. Well, that's going to be so fun. I'm excited to see you guys working together.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of terrified. And I think they're turning this one over really fast. And I think it's coming out at the end of the month, the end of July.
Oh, so you won't have to wait that long.
You won't have to wait very long, you or listeners, if you want to track us down. I'll try to remember to mention on the whatever podcast happens right after it comes out to remind everybody. But yeah, that was what I was doing all weekend and what I will probably be sneaking little bits of time to do in between now and
I know. You'd think a video when you make something on the camera, there's so much work that goes into prepping even before a quick segment. It's so much
and we want to have all the fabric things that I put together. We want to put all of that on a dress form in the back. So I need to make sure it will actually, fasten on.
Right.
And so yeah. So now that we've talked about me for a while, how about you guys and your weekend?
What'd you get up to, Amanda?
I had
working on your costume.
Weekend. Yeah, I didn't actually do much sewing at all. I did a little bit of sewing, but went for a little paddle with my daughter.
Aww.
So got some good outside time. I repainted my front porch, which I have been meaning to do forever. And just did a couple projects around the house. Some things I've been meaning to get to. It was so nice here. I've noticed that we're getting to that part of the summer where I feel just a little bit less inclined to sew. I'd rather be outside, laying in the hammock, and I'm okay with that. But got in the studio for just a little bit. But it was a great weekend. How about you, Meg?
That's very same with me, where I'm kind of more enjoying like the outdoors than, sewing 12 things in one weekend.
You already did that. So
I already did that. Now I can wear them. Yeah. The only bit of sewing I did is I got a new golf shirt, and it was a men's shirt actually. It was cheaper and it was like lime green trim, and I just hemmed it. And so I just hemmed a shirt. And then so we went golfing and we went for a long bike ride the one day. So just lots of outdoor fun, and it was just really nice. So yeah, lots of fun. So
awesome. So I have a little confession too. On Friday I went to the zoo.
Ooh.
The Denver Zoo has a lot of social distancing things put in. It's one way. You can't go whatever way you want. You have to follow certain paths. They have you have to pre-ticket, no physical tickets, and then you have to. They let you in at intervals. So it really wasn't crowded at all. We had to wear masks while we were there.
Yeah,
and I was a little nervous about the whole thing going in. I went with my godkids and their parents, and I was a little nervous, but I really do feel like I didn't put myself at any significant risk because of all the things that they had put in place. So, and I was careful. I think that you can definitely put yourself at risk no matter how many safety precautions are in place if you're not careful yourself. But
yeah, I think before you do anything, I find a good company and business will always have updated like procedures on their website. So I like to take care of going anywhere, like a shop or anything, if they don't have some sort of disclaimer on their website, what they're doing and such like that. If they're just say, now we're open, it's just like, no, I need more info. So definitely to do your research. But if you want to stay home, you can refashion, which is what we're going to talk about in this episode.
That was a beautiful segue, Meg.
I know, wasn't that great?
You're like the segue queen.
I know. Some of them really don't make sense, but I always try.
Bonus points for trying, Meg.
Definitely. I'm always just like, all right, now on to our actual topic.
Yeah. Refashioning can be a great way to start sewing more sustainably. Instead of discarding a garment because of a flaw, just fix it. Instead of starting a new sewing project from scratch by purchasing new fabric, rework something already in your wardrobe to breathe new life into it. Refashioning can also be a lot of fun and sometimes leads to really creative solutions. So, have you guys ever refashioned something before?
I think I just like the creative process of like starting from an idea, starting from scratch. So I don't tend to do a lot of refashioning. I also feel like at any given time, I have a bazillion projects on my to-sew list. So I'm not looking for anything more. So I don't tend to refashion unless it's, I think I am most tempted to refashion if it's a me made and I kind of want to rework it.
Nice.
Or usually it's because I have something already invested in the garment and, maybe I like the fabric and I want to get more wear out of it or something like that. But I think that's really where I'm most tempted.
How about you, Kate?
Yeah, I think for me, most of the time, if I do anything that I might consider refashioning, it's more a fitting thing, making something that doesn't fit right, fit better.
Yeah.
Which is sort of refashioning, but usually I'm not trying to change the look a whole lot. So it's also not refashioning. I can think though of one time, and I know I've brought this up before, when I had the brilliant idea of making my favorite pattern, the gallery dress, out of flannel, and that it turned out to be a terrible mistake because it did not hang very well. And I ended up changing it after I had made it so that it was the tunic length, which again wasn't so much of a refashion, sort of a small adjustment. But other than that, I can't think of anything really off the top of my head, but who knows, maybe I'll think of something as we continue talking.
I could totally I think of refashioning as like a really broad, like kind of instead of, just making something work, you're kind of making it work for you instead of just kind of putting it to the side or, getting rid of it. So that's totally a refashion. And even Amanda, I would consider your, like, even the blocked, like, Antero shells that you've made. Like, I think that's like a refashion. Like, like kind of reworking the pattern in your little bits and stash to make them into something new instead of cutting into another piece of yardage. So I do totally think that those can definitely work into the refashioning umbrella. So I kind of have a little question. So I want to get, like, if you were to do more refashioning, like, what's your refashioning style? So you can pick A, B, C, or D. Okay. There is a largest hole in your garment. Do you ... So there's a hole in your garment. Do you A, cover it either with applique, embroidery, or a pocket? B, put something under it, like a little insert, like lace or mesh or kind of a pop underneath so you can still kind of see the hole? C, you just cut off that part of the garment and either crop or hem it or sew on a new panel. Or D, just make more holes so it looks intentional and for that fashion shredded look. A, B, C, or D?
I'm going to go with C, which is cut off that part of the garment and either crop or hem or sew on a new panel. Because I think I would probably either do that because it's like I like the blocky look.
Yeah.
So new panel really appeals to me.
You would pick C. Yeah. I would
pick C. But I would also have to introduce maybe an E because my first thought was like cut up the fabric from whatever it is and use it in a new and different project. Because now that I've got patchwork stuff on the brain, there's like no fabric is safe.
I'm adding E, so we'll put this up, and then we want to know what our listeners would do too. So I'm adding Amanda's E.
I'm a rule breaker.
You are.
Not really.
How about you, Kate?
Well, so here's my problem with this whole thing. When I get holes in my fabric, it is almost always inevitably somewhere on the crotch curve. It is, or it's right at the top of the inseam. And so for me, it's usually, okay, I've got to be done with this. So I guess I'm going with E. Should I someday end up with a hole that is not in a place that really cannot, like, you can't put an applique over a decorative applique over the hole in your butt seam. You really can't.
Put a nice big
you could, but
right in the center.
I don't want to draw attention to that. So, and I really don't want to do the lace insert thing. Really don't want to do the lace insert.
You don't want to do a sheer insert
or the more holes so it looks intentional. No, we don't want to do that one either.
Oh my gosh.
So, I will, on occasion, I will try to tighten the curve a little bit if it's not too firm so that I can, get a little bit more wear out of it. And I think if it came down to it, I would either go with C or A, depending on the location of the hole. I have definitely covered some holes with with embroidery before. But usually just little ones. I've never done one that's like really big because I'm not sure embroidery is a great way to cover really big holes.
I know that's true. But
applique or pocket is, that's a good solution there. So, so C or A depending on the hole is my answer.
And I realized I'm adding an F. I totally forgot that you could just mend the hole.
Yeah. There's that.
I don't know why. I guess I was trying to get, because this will kind of add a new design element to it. So that's
and I kind of considered A to be a form of mending because you're covering it with stitches or a patch, something like that. So I considered A to be
okay, great.
To be a visible mend.
Yeah. I'm an A girl. I love to, I've done this several times, cover things with like an applique, a patch, a pocket. I like doing that for sure. But I will admit I've done I've done D for sure. Just make more holes because it's fun. And it's like crazy. So many people you see wear, and even in boutiques, I see sweaters that you buy that are expensive and they have holes all over them. It's just so crazy. And you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Save your money and rip up your own clothes.
Totally.
I swear the other day I saw someone wearing a pair of jeans that was just basically missing the entire front of the thigh.
Oh,
like,
I know.
You could see the pockets on the inside. And I'm just like, I don't understand, but okay. Like I get some artful ripping. I don't really get I just took a huge rectangle out of my thigh thing. That's just not
Shark Attack
shredding.
Oh my gosh, those are
the Shark Attack shredding. I even get that. Like I remember watching like episodes of Family Ties that made fun of that. Right, that's from when I was a little tiny baby. Right, but somehow just taking out huge pieces of fabric, I just don't get. But sorry, I'm showing my age.
Oh, no. But I could see totally in jeans. Yeah, in jeans, the adding more holes could definitely. I think I even made like a little short video when I did my jeans course, like how to like add holes and shred your fabric too. Because
it's hard to do it.
It is hard to make it look
natural. Because I remember doing a refashion back in high school, and I took some jeans and I bleached them. This was like totally 90s. And then I tried to make some holes that I could patch with flannel. Because, flannel shirts, big in the 90s. But it was really hard to get the holes to look natural. It looked like I had just cut them. Even I frayed them. But to mimic actual wear holes, it's really hard to do.
Yeah. Distressing is a skill.
Oh, yeah. What I like to do, what I find the most natural way is like just you even try and not even snip it at all. You could do a tiny snip. Sandpaper is a really good way to just naturally rub and rub and rub until you make the hole. That's a really good way to do that as well. Cool. Yeah, so welcome to our jeans distressing episode. No, I'm just joking.
Exactly.
But that's totally
a tip, though.
Yeah, thank you.
If I ever had any patience.
Right, yeah, it's so good because Julian being like an artist, he has all these like in a woodwork, he has so many different types of sandpaper, so you can get different effects. Like, I might even want to use like his machine, the machine that actually.
I
wonder if I should try that. Ooh,
yeah,
see, that's why it always leads to creative thinking. Like that's why I love refashioning.
Right.
It's not, you can't just Google it. You can't follow instructions. It's kind of every piece is unique, and you just have to use your imagination and the tools, and this could work to fix this. I don't know. I love refashioning.
It's a bit experimental, whereas just making something from scratch is like a different part of the brain. I think working with something that already exists and kind of altering it to suit is a really different kind of creative, I don't know, task.
Yeah, and you have definitely more limits on things because like you've got a limited amount of fabric and a limited number of shapes you can work with, and yeah.
I remember I had this really nice dress that I got, and I was pressing it, but I didn't obviously read the care instructions. I burnt a hole in it, and so I cut off the sleeves. And then I added a little. It was really quite long, so I took off a little from the hem, and then added a ruffle on the top. So it's just you just think of, instead of being like, oh no, it's ruined. You just have to. Look at the garment, where is some extra fabric that I could get? Do I have something that complements it? Look in your fabric stash. Can I add something there to compensate that? So there's always just lots of things that you can do. I think I just have lots of refashioning on the brain because I know by the time this episode comes out, it won't be released, but very soon after, next week, I actually have a series called Style Revive that's launching. Woo-hoo! And it's
I can't wait to see it.
It's so much fun. We had to get even creative with filming because I couldn't travel and we couldn't have a crew come in. So it's Julian filming me, and I think it turned out phenomenal. It's so much fun. Burry pops in, and I can't go to a fabric store. I can't go to a thrift store to get new things to work with. So I just am limited to what I have. And every episode is a new like refashioning project, and you guys have to check it out and we'll let you know when it's released too. But July 13th is the launch date. So definitely check back on SewJo to see all those fun projects for sure.
Yeah, I'm totally excited. I think I'm actually looking at one of your projects on the wall behind you.
Oh, I know, eh? Yeah, a little sneak peek is I have like denim pockets over framed and like staple gunned over like canvases, and they're organized like my sewing supplies, and that's because I just have even Julian has so many jeans. I was going through his closet and he goes, I don't wear those don't fit me, and if I can actually use them, which I actually really use this. I even store my hand sewing needles like pinned into the denim fabrics. I'm always losing them, and now they're just right above my sewing machine, so super smart for sure.
Love it.
Yeah. Super cute too.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you don't mind that I brought that up.
Oh, no worries.
Sorry, Amanda, I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say, thinking about refashioning, definitely totally a reason to just hold on to all of your scraps.
Oh, because 100%.
This is, it came up, I had made a shirt for my daughter, and I don't think I finished the bottom edge. It was a sweater knit, and it didn't ravel at all. So a year later, the shirt had kind of shrunk up a little bit in length, and she had gotten taller. So it was a little bit short on her for her to wear. So totally had some of that fabric still in my scrap basket. Amazing. Added a little peplum to the bottom, and she's totally wearing it again. I feel like that happens a lot to me. Like I get a little bit aggressive on how cropped of a shirt I will actually wear.
Totally. I do that too.
And so I had a shirt, and I could have totally gone and my plan was to just like add a little panel along the bottom, and I could have totally gone and gotten the same fabric. It was just this a basic solid silk knoll. But instead I got like a slightly different tone of the fabric and turned it into like a little color blocked element along the bottom. And that was a really fun exercise. Nothing quite as involved as all of the creative stuff that you have been up to, Meg. But I think for me, it's like, I think the starting place usually is for me, I made this, I love it, but I'm not wearing it. So let me fix that. Exactly. So I will actually get some wear out of it. And that's pretty much my motivation with any project I take on like this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good to just go through your, when I do like my seasonal switches, I have a pile of things that I just don't love. And I just look at what I have in my fabric stash. And sometimes you just visually see two fabrics together and just like an idea just literally pops into your brain. But then I start to gather, I have like a separate bin of folded, like even like fabric with the thing I mean to attach to it. I have like a pile of like refashions still like
nice
in the queue.
Very nice.
Yeah. I find that a lot with when, we were talking about prepping for filming. Sometimes you end up with like a million different stages of completion and different sizes of a garment that you're sewing. And it's just, I hate throwing those away. And so sometimes you just have the front of his dress and then you just have to think, and then you have to creatively do the back, or you have a cropped version because you just want to show the neckline detail. So even things like that, it's just fun to refashion. I know often what I give always, because we do half scale samples sometimes, I always give them to Kate, right? The little samples of things. Remember I gave you like the little rain jacket or something? Yeah. I think you were saying for your for a doll or something, or your
really?
I can't remember.
I'm not remembering this.
And a little coat. And
I must be going insane.
No, it's okay.
No, I remember that.
Yeah. It's okay.
All right.
Because that was like the cutest little jacket ever.
Yeah, it was a little baby like rain jacket. I think it was for like a doll or something.
Possibly the cat.
Or the cat.
Well, now I need to find that because I have no idea where it is.
Or you gave it to your goddaughter. Maybe you gave it to her for, I don't know.
Maybe.
But I remember giving it to you.
It's okay. I believe you. I totally do. It's a quarantine brain. I don't remember anything that happened before quarantine started.
I know. I don't remember anything before. Yeah, this year. It's just, it feels like, oh, I know. But anyways, here are some common things that you can do if you're kind of just getting started refashioning. If you just want to look in your wardrobe, what you have, you could take like a really, let's say if you made like a maxi dress and you've worn it a bunch of times, you can just, make it shorter, make it more fitted, or just use that as yardage. Mm-hmm. That's a good way to start. Or just kind of adding details like embellishments, even adding, hand beading or hand embroidery. Like that is refashioned too. If you have something really basic, adding just one embroidered pocket, or even a collar. I love doing that. Those bejeweled collars to things. I love doing that as well. It's just adding little extra pieces. And one of my favorite things that I explored doing my series is putting two separate garments together, just thinking about how can I make these two go together, either vertically, horizontally. So that's always really fun. Just two pieces that are just so kind of cool. Blah, and you just see where you can put them together. That's like, you could even cut them both on different angles and piece that if they're two shirts, or I just love doing that. And then of course I have jeans on my list, which we extensively talked about, but making them into different things instead of just like your basic, cropping them into a basic skirt or a jeans bag, like just getting really creative with denim, because I know that can accumulate a lot in people's closets, lots of jeans from lots of decades and, friends and family and stuff. I know everyone knows to give their jeans to me. So refashioning is super fun and sustainable and creative. So definitely try it yourself.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You just reminded me, I saw on Pinterest years ago these refashioned jeans that, you basically took the jeans, took out the inseam, sewed them together, and then added all of this extra fabric to make them into maxi skirts with all of these ruffles and layers and handkerchief elements and everything. And I've been meaning to do that for years, but it always seems to be at the bottom of my priority list. So I need to figure out whatever happened to that pair of jeans that I prepped for it. It might be, it's right there. It's right there.
It's right there.
I just looked up. It's right there. Yeah. Yeah.
I can see it over your head.
I can touch it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I also wanted to give a shout out to the Refashioner Challenge, which is a yearly challenge. And it is, just top notch refashioning happening. I think it's largely online, and I'll put a link to information about that in the show notes page. I think it was actually canceled for 2020, just given all of the extra life that's happening this year. But just really, I'm like, I added an extra band on the bottom of this shirt. These are like next level refashioning, and really, really inspiring creations coming out of that.
Nice.
All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about some alternative fabrics for refashioning too. So that'll be fun.
Man, that was a really inspiring conversation. I want to come at it from a little bit of a different angle and talk about alternative fabric sources. Everyone probably knows this already, but I have enough fabric in my stash to last at least my lifetime. But it's fun to consider alternative fabric sources, whether you're looking for a bargain, something for a quick muslin fitting sample, some kind of unique textile, or if you're just bored and looking around your house for creative options. Around here, no fabric is safe. So let's jump in.
Oh, that's funny.
I see this a lot. I feel like I'm seeing it a lot as part of the pandemic, and people are at home and kind of using what they have, and also stuck at home and looking at that, whatever, blanket that's draped over the back of the couch that's been there forever, and you're kind of just seeing it with new eyes because you've been at home every day looking at it.
It starts talking to you. It grows on you.
Exactly. it's getting weird. But one thing that I did want to say that I think has been around for a while, and I wanted to get your take on it, is people often use sheets. So bed sheets, whether they're, from the thrift store, or I've also seen recently people buying new sheets because they like the fabric print on them. And I feel like sheets are now available in, I guess they have been available in a wide array of like quality and thread count and all of that. So you could actually be looking at some pretty decent fabric. Whether you're making a finished item or just trying something for a muslin fitting sample. Have you guys used sheets?
I absolutely have. This might be too much information, but when I sleep, I have a tendency.
Never on this podcast.
I have a tendency to flip dramatically, and I do that by digging my heels into the mattress and using it to propel myself up and over. It's pretty hysterical. I've actually, I love that. I've been trying to train myself out of it. It's a lot better now that I sleep with somebody else because I have trained myself not to do it quite as dramatically. But the problem is, because I dig my heel in the same place all the time, I will eventually just put my heel right through the sheet.
Wow.
So in that particular spot on the sheet, I very often get big rips. And I mean, it's not, depending on the sheets, it's like, not like even once a year. It's maybe every 3 or 4 years I will basically ruin a set of sheets by putting my foot through them. And while it's still a little hole, it's okay. And then eventually I start getting my foot stuck in there, and then it's just, we have to give up on it. So that whole set of sheets at that point is really unusable. We could save the top sheet, but we usually just say, okay, this set of sheets is done. We'll get a new one and move on. And I will keep those sheets, which have been thoroughly used, and I won't use them for anything that I wear out, but I definitely use them for muslin stuff. If I need to do some testing, if I need to make a quick bodice to see how it fits, or little things like that. Never anything permanent, never anything. Sometimes it's pretty big, but I definitely keep my old ripped up sheets for muslin stuff.
Yeah, I started out, I learned to sew on sheets because my mom would just throw me sheets, like old sheets and tablecloths to practice sewing on, because since she wasn't a sewer, she didn't know, the protocols for going to a fabric store. It can be intimidating when you first go there because you're just expect to know exactly what you want, what you need. And so we didn't have that experience, so I would sew with sheets all the time. But you may have just I never thought to buy new sheets to use for fabric, because so often I see a print of sheets and it's on sale, and it's cute little dogs on it or something really cute, and it's not my size, so I just ignore it. But I never thought I could actually still buy it and use it for a blouse or something. I never thought of that. That is amazing. I am gonna look at the clearance wall at the sheet department in a whole new way.
Totally.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, sometimes modern sheets come with patterns on different scales that you can't necessarily find.
And they can be so soft. And it comes with the yardage is,
totally.
Lots of
yardage. If you get a king or a queen size, I mean, that's good yardage.
Wow.
Totally. I haven't done a lot of muslins with sheets, but what I have done, and I know this is a bit controversial. I mean, probably not really, but I have used sheets for quilt backing before, a nice top sheet.
Oh yeah.
I made a quilt for my daughter.
I'm saying that as a non-quilter. I'm oh, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's totally fine.
No one's judging you.
I know. Yeah. But it's the fabric or the sheet that I had was I think it was vintage, and it was a really nice high quality and high thread count, and it has held up so well, and it is so soft on the backside of the quilt. But I do know, like, you do have to be careful with thread count when you're doing that, because the quilting can sometimes pull through the sheets as the backing wears down. But if you've got a nice quality sheet set that you're working with, I think you've got a ton of options, and as you said, a lot of yardage to work with. What about other kinds of fabrics around the home? Or, like, I think same scenario, whether you're buying them new or from like a resale shop or a thrift store, there's always curtains and tablecloths, blankets and tapestries, which are actually the two areas where I have the most experience. And I'll share a picture of this. I think it was last fall. I found this kind of nubby throw blanket at the thrift store, and it had this kind of open weave, but it was still pretty dense, and it had a little bit of dimension to it. And I used that to make a backpack, like a roll top backpack.
What? Wow.
And I think that was cool, because sometimes when you're searching, particularly for bag fabric, it's all about the fabric sometimes. And it's hard to find like thick, nubby, textural and dimensional fabric in the store. So, and of course I found this blanket and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It looks like maybe it's like a hand woven or something like that. And then I got it home and of course, found the IKEA tag on the back, which was just hilarious. The other thing that same exact scenario, I found this really cool kind of hand woven. It was probably like the first iCat fabric that I ever used, was from the thrift store. And again, thought it was like totally unique and handmade, and found the Pier 1 Imports tag on the back.
That's so
funny. But I used
funny.
those. I made some pretty hilarious, my first pair of Ninu culottes were made from that. And I will also share a picture of that endeavor.
Are those the orange ones?
No, they're like an iCat print. But I think this was either like, the fabric was either a just like a light blanket that you would use on top of your bed. It might have been even like intended to be used as like a wall tapestry. For the hippie chic apartment / dorm room. But you got to have culottes sometimes. What about you guys? Have you explored past sheets?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, with the exception of one time when I was making a prop and I needed some like army green fabric, and the cheapest way for me to acquire it was to get a pair of curtains at Walmart. So I did do that. But I didn't need very much yardage. I just needed, I'm gesturing like a 18-inch square or something here. But I've never done that since, which I'm kind of wondering why. And I never look at the fabric or sheets or blankets in the thrift stores. And again, I'm starting to wonder why.
Yeah, I actually reused an old shower curtain. It was 100% cotton. It had a donut print on it, but we repainted our bathroom in January, and so we got a new shower curtain. And I used it for masks, actually. I cut it up, and it made so many masks. And everyone who I would give it to, they would love it because it was little donuts on it. But so I've totally used the shower curtain before. Yeah, because when you get like I always think I was so grown up when I got my first shower curtain with like the liner and it was fabric, because I'd always get like the plastic ones on both sides. Yep. I knew it's just like a real shower curtain, Julie. It's real. And
a real adult.
Yeah, so when I took it, real adult. Not just crazy plastic one. But yeah, so I used a shower curtain for masks and it was great.
Nice.
So definitely love utilizing just those random home tapestries for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I would say, I take a look in the tablecloth section, because again, I feel like those totally. You can get a lot of kind of textured fabric that you just can't find in the fabric store. It's usually kind of super consistent and all one thickness. But I feel like if you're looking for something really unique, I recommend tablecloths. And also duvet covers have a ton of fabric. And
I bet.
Because the double side, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they just have, and again, I think you can get like some larger scale prints. You can get some heavier weight fabric from that. And
you know, you could always do, there's like this either snap or the button up side. Just have that as you don't even have to make buttonholes or snaps.
There you go.
There you go.
I love that. I love that. The other kind of alternative source that I wanted to talk through was using bigger garments and either, like we were talking about, refashioning them down to size or cutting them up to make a bazillion patchwork shirts, which is the kick that I'm currently on. And I would say that this has come up in the sewing community before. And I think that it is I think it's good to proceed and just be mindful here, especially if you're shopping at resale and thrift stores, because those often, they have less options for people who need plus size clothing. So I'd say use it sparingly. Like if you really fall in love with the fabric, or if you only do it on occasion, or, you know, just leave those fabric or those garments for people who need them. But I will say that my husband has a large collection of kind of button-up shirts in his closet that he doesn't wear as much. And I am forever shopping in there just thinking,
I love that. Oh,
maybe I can,
you know,
only the stuff that he doesn't wear a whole lot. But have you guys done this kind of thing before, repurposing fabric from an old garment to make something new?
I know, I'm trying to think. I don't think I have actually.
No.
No.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have done that.
Well, now maybe you'll be inspired to, because literally, like, no fabric is safe around here.
It's true.
No fabric is safe.
I just remembered that up in my closet, so my best friend, I'm sure I've mentioned before, works at a bridal shop. And years and years and years, and when I say years ago, I mean before I got married, so like 12 years ago, maybe 10, there were a couple samples that were getting so old and dirty that they couldn't really use them anymore. So they got new ones in, or maybe they discontinued the dresses. I can't remember. But she asked if I wanted one of the samples. And so it's beaded silk, this dress that's just, I mean, and it's like size, I don't know, 8 or 6, something like that is what the sample sizes all are. And it's hanging in my closet, and I certainly can't wear it. But I keep meaning to, like, pull it apart, wash the fabric as much as I can, because it is, you know, the hem's pretty dirty, and figure out something to do with all of that ivory silk with beads on it. But I haven't yet. So if anyone has any great ideas, please send them my way. Because heaven knows I have time to do that.
I feel like that's like a cosplay waiting to happen, right?
It kind of feels like a cosplay waiting to happen. But again, I mean, it's a wedding gown, so there's a lot of fabric, but I couldn't make something that size out of it because it is so much smaller than I am. So, you know, like I might be able to make a skirt out of it, or I might be able to make a top out of it, but I probably couldn't make like a full dress because there's just not enough fabric for a dress that would fit me.
How about like a little bolero or something, you know, like an evening bolero? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that could be so cute. I wonder if I would ever wear it.
I know, it's so fancy.
The amount of time I spend going to things where I need evening boleros. Yeah. I don't know. In real time, I go to theater fairly often, so you know it's possible.
That's a great theater piece.
Real time as opposed to what we're living right now, which is fake time.
Yes.
This is weird. It's weird times.
It's weird times, An evening bolero. An ivory silk beaded evening. I mean, you could wear one, you know, just...
Heck, I could make it into like a duster instead of a bolero. Make it like knee length with like a gored skirt so it kind of flares out. I don't know. I'm just... playing.
We have so many ideas today. This is awesome. We're just flooding with ideas.
Let's do an episode where we bring something and we help each other think of ways to refashion it.
Yes. Oh, I'm so in for that. We can do that.
That would be so fun.
In the meantime, I'll try to remember to take a picture of this dress so everyone can see what I'm working with.
We're going to need to see it.
Another source that I actually I got at a thrift store when I was in high school. I had like really kind of eclectic. I liked really strange things, and I found this placemat purse, and it was two like old placemats put together and then sewn in the U, and then the tops like folded over these like wooden handles, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And so placemats are just like you can totally use those as like bags. I loved it. I would bring it to school every day, and they were like ugly placemats. They were like 80s, like it was like really they were the frilly, like the gathered like ruffly edge all around them.
Nice.
And they were brown and floral and beige, and I loved it. And so I just always remember that as like something really fun that I didn't make, but I bought it. Like someone had made it. It definitely was homemade. Placemats for sure.
Placemats are awesome. I feel like you could cut you could do that. I've seen that. You could cut a little wristlet from placemats and make a little bag, especially because again, like I feel like placemats, there's so many varieties and different textiles that they come in, that there's really if you're making something small scale, there's a lot of options.
For sure.
But now I want to see this purse. Do you have a picture, Meg?
I think I would have to really dig for I don't know where it went. It's like 3 moves ago, and I was like 3 houses ago. But I wonder.
No, I think you shouldn't worry about it, and all of us just have to picture it in our heads from your story.
It's pretty glorious.
I think you could.
I remember
really
people would be. Yeah, I was gonna say people would look at it and be like, "That's like the ugliest, but most like." Cool thing I've ever seen.
I like ugly cool stuff for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking you could probably make some really cool pockets out of placemats too.
Oh.
Yeah. All kinds of fun stuff.
So many ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that was super inspiring. So let's jump into our SewJo segment and find out what's giving us our sewing mojo right now. It might be refashioning for all of us. I'm not sure. Meg, why don't you start us off?
Well, actually, I have been kind of doing a lot of like online fabric shopping, and kind of the shipping was delayed. So they're now all coming in like right now. And I just have so many plans, but now I'm getting all like precious with them, and I haven't cut any, I'm always getting back into like my old fabrics, and I'm just scared to cut into all my new ones. But I have a plan I have this lime green linen that I got from Blackbird Fabrics, and the new Peppermint magazine, they have their loungewear set that's like a linen pants and a t-shirt by Common Stitch, and it's a free pattern actually, but I think I want to make like a lime green linen set that I can wear like in and out, and I can change it up. So
nice.
Oh, that sounds so pretty.
What I want to work on for sure.
I bet you can mix and match that with your your kind of tropical print set that you made last year.
100%. So that's what I'm doing.
How about you, Amanda?
Lots of SewJo things actually. I'm on a jumpsuit kick.
Nice.
I'm like all jumpsuits all the time. I made the Elizabeth Suzanne Clyde jumpsuit last week, and I'm halfway through a Zadie jumpsuit this week, just marching through my fabric, which is good because like you, Meg, like buying fabric is my new hobby now.
Yeah. Now I know what you mean by like online fabric shopping. I got a taste of it, and now I can't.
It's so bad. I have bought so much fabric during this quarantine. I think it's just, I think it's like my entertainment now. Whatever it is, it makes me happy. So I have a lot of it, but I also have been thinking about some different sources for notions and things. And I actually, we had some folks visiting 2 weeks ago, and I went to the antique mall near my house, like so close to my house. And there was this whole cupboard full of vintage buttons.
Oh.
I mean, I was like a kid in a candy store, and it was so much fun. And I spent like $20 and bought a bazillion vintage buttons. And it was amazing because I don't know, I I'm kind of picky about buttons, but I also I don't like statement buttons. I like wearable buttons, but these were just so perfect, and it's so fun. And I love that somebody got rid of their button stash, and now I'm going to take it and turn it into something. Cause I think I'm gearing up for some shirt making this fall. I feel like it's, I'm feeling the urge now that I have all these vintage buttons to use, but that was just really fun. And I think it was a nice reminder that, hey, there are all these options for finding stuff to use in creative ways. So
yeah, I've been seeing you post them on your Instagram stories, and there's cute wooden ones. And
I know.
they're
so many
adorable.
good ones. Yeah, like I said, I think I'm kind of picky about buttons, but I also I went and got all their plainest vintage buttons.
I know. When I saw them and I looked at, I go, those are such Amanda buttons.
I know.
And I love them.
It's so I'm easy to peg these days.
Actually, I have just a quick button story. One of our friends who actually lives in our building, she's in the set film world. She works as a set deck, and she did I think it was a music video or something, but they wanted buttons to cover a whole floor. And so she had to get all these buttons, and she didn't know what to do with them after. And she gave me, imagine a blue water cooler jug filled with buttons.
Oh my gosh.
I have so many buttons. Yeah. And so I think it was during the holidays one year, we had a button sorting party because they were mix and match, and we just dumped them all. And Julian's family, it's been a whole evening just grouping buttons, with buttons, and we baggied them all. And so, yeah, I love buttons too. So now I have enough buttons to last my lifetime.
Forever.
Forever.
Me
So
too.
That's a cool button story. How about you, Kate? What's your SewJo?
Awesome. Well, for anybody who shops at Joann's and went to the 4th of July shopping extravaganza this month might have been aware that the linen was all heavily on sale. And so I went a little linen crazy. Actually didn't go to the store, just bought it all online, and it arrived 3 days later. I'm amazed. I have no idea why they sent it that fast, but
it's already here?
It got here before the sale was over. I was so amazed.
Buy more.
Well, it's too late now. But so yes, I have not opened the box yet because I am working on my cosplay and I have to finish my cosplay. But once I am done with that, the box is coming open. I think there are 10 yards of linen in there, and I am going to make some things. I think the first thing is probably going to be a pair of pagosa pants, because the greatest tragedy of my life, my pagosa pants from last year, now are starting to split apart at the butt seam. Of course, I might be able to fix them. I'm not sure. I haven't tried yet, but I haven't been able to wear them. So I have been not with my linen pagosa pants, and it's awful. I've been living in them, and that's why they're splitting, and now it's horrible. My life is a tragedy, but I'm going to make some more, and that'll be okay.
I have an idea. Do you have any fabric left over from that fabric of those pagosa pants? Even just a tiny piece?
You know what? I don't, because we actually made them in a video, and Amanda was the one who had all of the fabric. So what we need to do is ask Amanda.
I might.
I'm
gonna
an
dig
idea.
in my stash, my little scrap bin.
Make a pair of underwear where just the back is the same fabric and then the front's stretchy, and then you won't have to worry about it.
It doesn't matter because I'm basically wearing a pair of linen, I don't know, Dickies.
No, just the back, so the front can be stretchy, and then you don't have to worry about
all linen all the time.
All linen all the time. Well, there's also the possibility of patching, I suppose. So, Amanda, if you do find any of that fabric,
I'm going to dig.
Maybe drop some off on my desk next time you're in the office, because I'm going to be down a couple of times in the next couple of weeks. That would be awesome.
There you go. But kudos to you for not opening I could never, ever do that. I literally got a package in this morning, and I walked to my mailbox, and I had it ripped open before I even got to my unit.
Back.
I will give some slight credit to the fact that when it arrived, I had literally just spent 4 hours walking around the zoo, and I was exhausted, and I didn't want to do anything but collapse.
Still.
So that helped a lot. And then now it's just sitting there in my library, just being like, hi, I'm here. And I'm like, No, not today, fabric.
That's so impressive.
Thank you. I am very impressive.
You should be very impressed.
All right. Real quick before we finish up, we want to ask you a Sew and Tell question. And we're going to ask you, what's your favorite thing that you've refashioned? Or if you want to give some tips or answer Meg's challenge question about the largest hole, any of those are things we'd be delighted to hear from you about.
Yeah.
Well, I was not so sure about this episode because it's not really my strong suit, but this was really fascinating, really interesting, and really inspiring.
Totally.
You guys,
really
you get me every time. Every time I think I'm not going to be interested in an episode, you guys get me.
We gotcha.
Yes, you did.
I'm just mind blown about like new sheets and duvet. Like that's just like a whole new fabric store.
Danger.
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 Even
So
next
much
online
fun.
fabric
shirts
order
too. Be great.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Remember to stay safe and healthy.
Yeah, just go through your wardrobe and refashion what you already got.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy refashioning.
Happy refashioning.
Happy refashioning. Bye.
Bye.
For links to everything we talked about in this episode, go to our show notes page at sewdaily.com/sewandtell. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sewandtellpodcast@goldenpeakmedia.com or visit us on Instagram at sewandtellpod. Answer the Sew and Tell question, tell us your sojo, or just leave us some feedback. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. And please leave us a review, ideally a good one, because that helps listeners like you find our podcast. And tell your sewing friends about us, too. Thanks for listening, and happy stitching. Sew and Tell is produced by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zaynard. Our consulting producer is Ron Doyle, and our executive producer is Jared Mayer.